This is TWiT.
DeepFake. So I've been aware of it happening for a while. I've been noticing that there's been a lot of conversation about it and demos and things on, standard broadcast TV. A story caught my attention that I was going to cover this week, and I decided when I saw the second story about a move being made to create deepfake detection, that it was worth pushing back a little bit and spending some time talking about it. The first story was in the New York Times, which is behind a paywall. So I was able to get the first paragraph of it and then dug around and found some more information from others who have New York Times subscriptions. The New York Times story was titled, "Fraudsters Use AI to Mimic CEO's Voice in Unusual Cybercrime Case."
This was wild, wasn't it? Oh, my God.
Yes. And their coverage said criminals used artificial intelligence-based software to impersonate a chief executive's voice and demand a fraudulent transfer of 220,000 euros, $243,000, in March, in what cybercrime experts described as an unusual case of artificial intelligence being used in hacking. The CEO of a UK-based energy firm thought he was speaking on the phone with his boss, the chief executive of the firm's German parent company, who asked him to send the funds to a Hungarian supplier. The caller said the request was urgent and directed the executive to make this transfer. So, this sort of put me in mind of the way the world is changing. In the very early days of email, the very, very early days, we might have taken a note from apparently our boss at face value and acted upon it. But obviously, those days are long gone. And for some time, due to its power to convincingly fool and spoof, the term photoshopping, as I mentioned at the top of the show, has become a well-established term now. Everyone knows what a photoshopped image means. And Adobe gets a lot of credit for having, Photoshop being the app behind that. But now, as I said at the top of the show, the crazy power of today's computational resources has moved us to an entirely new level of spoofing. Not only are we able, we have been long time, been able to spoof a static image, now we're able to spoof, and this is what has changed so much, complex time-varying signals, both audio and video in real time. So today, upon receiving something important and unexpected via email, we might give our boss a call and say, "Hey, did you just send me an email asking, whatever?" But notice how we would confirm it. We would confirm by voice, because today we still trust that. So the point here is no one trusts a photo anymore. That's been spoiled. And we're also on the brink of losing our ability to trust real-time, non-face-to-face electronic communication as well. We're entering a future where it might be necessary for the instructions to be, if I ever tell you by email or even by phone to do, or I guess even in a video conference, to do something you don't expect, I want you to confirm it face to face. Just walk down the hall, stick your head in the door and ask, "Hey, did you just call me and ask me to something?" And I guess my point is, think, Leo, how much that changes our world.
Yeah.
If we can't trust not only our own ears, but our own eyes.
We, a number of online brokers, I know Charles Schwab does this and I know Fidelity do this, have voice authentication. And I always thought that was a little sketch, But you still have to have the password. It's like a
so
third
you mean
factor.
so they try to do voice recognition
on you?
Wow.
You have to train it before that you use it, obviously, and that's an option. And I've always just ignored it because I thought, well, especially my voice has been recorded so many times. I don't think it'd be too hard to synthesize.
Well, and of course, that's where the whole AI thing comes in, right? Because there's this notion of training an AI to be able to like sound like Leo.
I have to say, though, the giveaway will be the content, not so much my voice. You could make something sound exactly like me. I've got John Legend coming out of my Google Assistant, That's one of the voices now. You can use your Google Assistant is John Legend. And it sounds just like him. But you can still tell, partly because of the content, partly because voice synthesis isn't perfect, that it's not actually John Legend.
Well, and good point. For example, some of the spam email you get, you look at it and it's like, okay,
that wasn't a human.
This is not my mom who sent this.
Yeah. It's grammatically incorrect,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think we still have a way to go. Even those deep fakes, you've seen some of these deep fakes. They're good, but they're not perfect. You can tell.
Yes.
I guess really what we have to prepare for is a day when they are perfect. Because Photoshop is now completely, it's very hard to detect.
It's a very good point. And I think we have to acknowledge, and that's why it's worth talking about, that day is coming. And that we know there are entities that are willing to invest in that technology. I mean, certainly academically, it's an interesting academic exercise to see whether you can create that kind of fake. But, for example, the U.S. election, we know that Russia messed with our past presidential election in order to stir things up in various ways. And there's every indication that, hey, they were successful, at least in creating some chaos.
Thousands of Twitter bots. A Twitter bot is an easy thing to fake, and a Facebook bot. That's not hard.
Yes. So what the second part of this is an interesting challenge that has just been announced. It's called the DeepFake Detection Challenge. It's DeepFakeDetectionChallenge.ai. I thought that was a very cool domain for it to have. All one word or all run together. DeepFakeDetectionChallenge.ai. The subhead reads, Deepfake Detection Challenge invites people around the world to build innovative new technologies that can help detect deepfakes, good luck with that, and tampered media. Identifying tampered content, they write, is technically challenging as deepfakes rapidly evolve. So we're working together to build better detection tools. And of course, this is going to be cat and mouse, right? Because all of this is going to be done in public. All of the detection stuff is going to be done in public. The test sets will be public. And so the people making the deep fakes will also be able to check their fakes against the detection systems. Anyway, Facebook and Microsoft in partnership with academics from Cornell Tech, MIT, University of Oxford, UC Berkeley, University of Maryland, College Park and University in Albany, New York, have joined forces to sponsor a contest promoting research and development to combat deep fakes. Videos altered through videos, because audio, if you can do video, you can obviously also do audio, altered through artificial intelligence to mislead their viewers. So we have the DFDC, as it's been called, or being called, the Deepfake Detection Challenge, which aims to spur the industry to create technology that can detect and prevent deepfakes, according to a log post by Facebook's CTO Mike Schroepfer. Mike posted under a title, Creating a Data Set and Challenge for Deepfakes. So this is the Facebook CTO who said, data sets and benchmarks have been some of the most effective tools to speed progress in AI. Our current renaissance in deep learning has been fueled in part by the ImageNet benchmark. Recent advances in natural language processing have been hastened by the GLUE, G-L-U-E, and SuperGLUE benchmarks. He says, DeepFake techniques, which present realistic AI-generated videos of real people doing and saying fictional things, have significant, and you can imagine why Facebook is particularly sensitive to this now, have significant implications for determining the legitimacy of information presented online. And of course, Leo, this is why it occurred to me that this also is a little relevant to the discussion we're going to be having in Boston on October 3rd, because it's about identity. And that, of course, this is spoofing identity all the way up to a video that is convincing. So he says, yet the industry doesn't have a great data set or benchmark for detecting these fakes. We want to catalyze more research and development in this area and ensure that there are better open source tools to detect deepfakes. That's why Facebook, the partnership on AI, Microsoft, and academics from, and all those universities that I just mentioned, are coming together to build the Deepfake Detection Challenge. He says, the goal of the challenge is to provide technology that everyone can use to better detect when AI has been used to alter, God, this will be really interesting, to alter a video in order to mislead the viewer. The Deepfake Detection Challenge will include a data set and leaderboard, as well as grants and awards to spur the industry. And I elsewhere, oh yeah, here it's later in his posting, to spur the industry to create new ways of detecting and preventing media manipulated via AI from being used to mislead others. The governance of the challenge will be facilitated and overseen by the Partnership on AI's new steering committee on AI and media integrity, which is made up of a broad cross-sector coalition of organizations including Facebook, Witness, Microsoft, and others in civil society and the technology, media, and academic communities. It's important to have data that is freely available for the community to use, with clearly consenting participants and few restrictions on usage. That's why Facebook is commissioning a realistic data set that will use paid actors with the required consent obtained to contribute to the challenge. No Facebook user data will be used in this data set. We are also funding research collaborations and prizes for the challenge to help encourage more participation. In total, we are dedicating more than $10 million to fund this industry-wide effort. To ensure the quality of the data set and challenge parameters, they will initially be tested through a targeted technical working session this October at the International Conference on Computer Vision. The full data set release and the DFDC launch will happen at the Conference on Neural Information Processing Systems, NER-IPS, this December. Facebook will also enter the challenge but not accept any financial prize. Follow our website for regular updates. This is a constant evolving problem, he finishes, much like spam or other adversarial challenges. And our hope is that by helping the industry and AI community come together, we can make faster progress. So, wow.
Interesting.
This is very cool. It's clear that this is going to engage the interest of the industry's top AI academics and and dynamic media people to see whether we can come up with some means for detecting this. And of course, it's also going to have an effect of providing feedback to the bad guys who look at how this detection is being done and then see if they're not able to avoid being detected.
You know, it strikes me that the human brain is marvelously attuned to detect fakes, to detect things that seem off. And it's an evolutionary, I think, an evolutionary ability, because if people are ill, you want to stay well away. It's a survival instinct. And so anything slightly off, that's the uncanny valley, right? When we do animation and we make it look very human, we can tell it's not human. There's just something subtle that maybe we're better at than any machine will be. But what I was thinking is the real issue with deep fakes is not a 3-minute video of the president saying we're going to attack Iran. The real deep fake is a subtle, maybe a 1-word change to an existing video.
Yes.
That would be, you would be very hard-pressed to detect that if it's done.
Yes,
right.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Where you just make a subtle alteration that has dramatic magnifying, sort of multiplicative effect.
Remember the video that the administration proposed when they banned Jake Acosta, the CNN reporter, from the White House press briefings, which now, of course, they don't do anymore, so it doesn't matter. But they had a video of him pushing an aide away. She was trying to take the microphone, and it was a modified video of him pushing the aide away. People figured out it was modified, but it was such a subtle little thing, and that's the key, is if you just make a little difference, that puck made it into the net. See right there, that would be a lot harder, I think, to detect than a longer video.
Well, yes, and even from an automated standpoint. So I think your point is not only for humans to detect, but for AI is going to have to look at the whole thing, frame by frame.
What am I looking at? Yeah, right.
Yeah. I would argue that, and I think you're right, Leo. Humans, due to our nature. I mean, for example, think about how, in poker, there are tells.
Oh yeah.
And that you're able, like a good poker player is able to look at something that that isn't fake, but it's just a tiny little tick that indicates something going on inside the person's head. Right. I mean,
we're very good. Wow. That's our whole biology is tuned to do that. And it's a little harder for a computer, which can't even really a 2-year-old can recognize his mother's face. A computer has to work a lot harder. So,
and
it's a good challenge, though.
And how many spouses are sure they can tell when their spouse is not telling them quite the whole truth?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We've never made a good lie detector. There's never yet been a lie detector that actually works better than a spouse, anyway.